reiterate, the fact that Canada will control what crosses the Gordie Howe Bridge and owns the land on both sides is unacceptable to the president. It's also unacceptable that more of this bridge isn't being built with more American-made materials, even more so than what President Barack Obama committed to with the Canadians at the time, at the start of the project. He also believes that the U.S. should own at least half of the bridge, have shared authority over what passes across it, and participate in the economic benefits generated by its use. This is just another example of President Trump putting America's interests first, and so he made that very clear in his call with Prime Minister Carney earlier today. Phil.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem just posted a photo of herself signing the last contract to build the border wall between Laredo, Del Rio, and Big Bend, Texas, among reports that construction had stalled. Is the president satisfied with the pace of construction?
The president wants to make sure that the full border wall is built as quickly as possible, of course. I know this is a priority for him dating back to 2016, and so absolutely he wants to ensure that the border wall is built under budget and ahead of schedule is how President Trump likes to view building projects, and that includes the border wall.
Satisfied with the pace of construction thus far?
I think the president is never satisfied. He always wants to ensure that things are moving along as quickly as possible, but I know Secretary Noem is on it, and she's doing a great job.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you.
Charlie.
On the Nancy Guthrie case, is the president satisfied with the federal and local investigations so far? And has there been any more contact from the White House or the president with the family?
I don't think anybody will be satisfied until this case is brought to a close and until Nancy Guthrie is returned home safely with her loved ones.
What about the White House contacts? Has the president contacted the family since?
Not since that initial phone call. Sure. Tamara.
Thank you. The National Governors Association is removing a meeting with President Trump from his agenda because only Republicans were invited. Is the White House reconsidering inviting Democrats, or do you think Republicans are still going to show up? Like, where does that stand now?
No, look, I just spoke with the president about this. It is a dinner at the White House. It's the people's house. It's also the president's home, and so he can invite whomever he wants to dinners and events here at the White House. I believe Governor Moore was invited last year, and he did not show up to the dinner last year. Nobody reported on it. But again, the president has the discretion to invite whomever he wants to the White House, and he welcomes all those who received an invitation to come. And if they don't want to, that's their loss.
And on Ghislaine Maxwell, is the president going to rule out a pardon for her in her testimony, deposition yesterday? Her legal team seemed to be making a case, again, for a pardon from the president.
Again, this is not something I've discussed with the president recently because, frankly, it's not a priority. He's focused on many of the issues that the American people are dealing with and providing solutions to those issues. So I haven't spoken with him recently. Last time we did speak about it, he said it's not something he's considering or thinking about.
Caroline.
Go ahead, Bloomberg.
Thanks, Caroline. Secretary Litnick today was testifying on the Hill, and he said that he had visited Epstein's Island in 2012 with his wife and children, and that's after he said that he had cut ties with Epstein, and Justice Department documents show that he was in contact with Epstein through 2018 over messages. So does the White House stand behind Secretary Litnick right now, or given what he has said today, has there been any shift in how the White House is viewing Secretary Litnick's performance?
No, Secretary Litnick remains a very important member of President Trump's team, and the president fully supports the secretary. I will just point out that there are a lot of wins in the news this week that people in this room have not asked about because you continue to ask questions about the same subject, so let me point them out for you. Again, on Friday, the Dow shattered 50,000 for the first time ever. This week, the American Society of Plastic Surgeons came out in opposition to gender mutilation surgeries for children. They are the first major medical group to do so. A federal appeals court today, nobody asked about that, just upheld the Trump administration's policy of detaining illegal aliens, validating the strong measures that have driven illegal crossings to historic lows, and sent a crystal clear message that under President Trump, if you enter the country illegally, you will be detained and removed. The murder rate, again, not a single question about this, has plunged to a 125-year low as crime falls across the board, thanks to President Trump's crime crackdown. We also saw this week national median rents have fallen to a 4-year low following 6 consecutive monthly declines, and mortgage affordability has surged to a 4-year high. Home ownership is the core foundation principle of the American dream, and I will repeat that mortgage affordability this week surged to a 4-year high, but not a single of mention of that in this briefing room today. And again, this came out last Friday, but for an unprecedented 9th straight month, there were 0 illegal border crossings at the southern border. So we're going to get back to business. The president is very busy today, and you will see him all tomorrow at the event in the East Room touting his administration's energy policy. Thank you.
What about the Monks Walk for Peace that came to DC, Caroline?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I apologize for the delay. I was once again with the president. He and I were both reviewing the newly released surveillance footage from FBI in the Savannah Guthrie case on just this heartbreaking situation with respect to her mother. The president encourages any American across the country with any knowledge of this suspect to please call the FBI, who continue to assist state and local authorities who are leading this investigation on the ground. And once again, I will reiterate that the prayers of this entire White House are with Savannah and her family at this time, and we hope this person is found soon and that her mother is brought home safely. President Trump has a very busy week ahead, so I will begin with some scheduling announcements today. Tomorrow here at the White House, the president will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a bilateral meeting. The remainder of the week will be focused on energy and deregulation. Tomorrow afternoon, the president will hold an event in the East Room to tout clean, beautiful coal as America's most reliable and affordable energy source, especially during periods of peak demand, just as we saw during this most recent winter storm, which impacted hundreds of millions of Americans. The president will discuss how clean, beautiful coal is not only keeping the lights on in our country, but also driving down the cost of electricity across the country as well. Additionally, on Thursday, President Trump will be joined by Administrator Lee Zeldin to formalize the rescission of the 2009 Obama-era endangerment finding. This will be the largest deregulatory action in American history, and it will save the American people $1.3 trillion in crushing regulations. The bulk of the savings will stem from reduced costs for new vehicles, with the EPA projecting average per vehicle savings of more than $2,400 for popular light-duty cars, SUVs, and trucks. This is just one more way this administration is working to make life more affordable for everyday Americans. Overall, these groundbreaking actions from President Trump will drive larger economic growth, create thousands of good-paying jobs, expand manufacturing, increase consumer choice, and improve affordability for millions of our special forces who carried out the successful Operation Absolute Resolve in Venezuela and helped bring narco-terrorist Nicolas Maduro to justice. I know the President and First Lady are both greatly looking forward to this visit. Also, the First Lady will celebrate Valentine's Day at the Children's Inn at the National Institute of Health tomorrow, with children, families, and NIH staff involved in clinical trials. In other news this week, thanks to President Trump signing the largest middle-class tax cut in history, this is shaping up to be the biggest tax refund season ever, and we are in it now. President Trump and Republicans fundamentally believe that Americans deserve to keep more of their hard-earned money, not less, which is why he fought so hard to deliver this long overdue relief. From no tax on tips, overtime, or Social Security to auto loan interest deductions on new American-made vehicles, plus increases to the standard deduction in child tax credit, more money is flowing back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. We're already hearing from everyday Americans across the country who are reporting substantial tax savings thanks to the Working Families Tax Cut, which every single Democrat in Congress voted against. AMAC, which represents millions of Americans, has heard directly from more than their 1,000 members already about how the Trump tax cuts are easing cost of living concerns. I wanted to share a few of those powerful responses with you today. This one comes from Dean and Wendy in Wisconsin, who says, quote, instead of paying out $3,700 last year, we got back $2,500 in refunds this year. This is huge for our family. Steve from California said, quote, the new senior citizen deduction is a tremendous relief and has given us peace of mind and the freedom to truly enjoy the retirement years we worked so hard for. Eric from Nevada said, as a senior, no tax on Social Security helps me tremendously. The no tax on tips helps my daughter-in-law as a waitress. The no tax on overtime helps my son, who works constantly. Our family savings from the One Big Beautiful Bill could total even more than $5,000. We love the Trump tax cuts. These are just a few positive examples of the everyday Americans that President Trump's tax cuts are uplifting. We'd love to hear more from the American people across the country who are benefiting from the working families' tax cuts. The White House is also pleased to share that parents across the country can now officially apply to open a Trump account for their child. In order to apply, parents can visit trumpaccounts.gov and fill out the IRS form 4547. These Trump accounts are special investment accounts aimed at providing American children with a jump start on building wealth for life. They have all the tax advantages as a traditional IRA account, but are specifically tailored to build wealth the moment a child is born. Thanks to President Trump, every child born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 is eligible to receive $1,000 from the U.S. Treasury to fund their account. Parents, guardians, and even nonprofits can then contribute up to $5,000 per year. Employers can also contribute up to $2,500 per year per employee. President Trump believes there is no better investment than investing in our nation's children. If you are a parent who maximizes contributions to your child's Trump account, its projected value could reach nearly $1.1 million by the time your child turns 28 years old, based on average historical stock market returns. Safe to say the Trump accounts will give a substantial head start to position the next generation for a brighter future. And with the stock market exploding under President Trump's pro-growth policies, there has never been a better time to sign up for an investment account like this. The Dow Jones just shattered 50,000 for the first time ever on Friday, and the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ continue smashing record after record. So with President Trump in charge, Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming once again, and these new Trump accounts for America's kids will boom too. So with that, once again, every parent should go to trumpaccounts.gov today, and I'm going to put it on my own personal to-do list to sign up for one as well. With that, I will take your questions. Karoline Downey from the National Review is here. Thank you for being here, and why don't you kick us off?
Thank you for having me. On the criticism that immigration enforcement has become arbitrary or not particularly prioritizing, Democrats have been circulating this statistic that only 14% of illegal aliens arrested under this administration are violent criminals, but we know that in deep blue cities with progressive district attorneys, it's common to plead down serious violent crimes into less serious offenses, which could be distorting those numbers. So given that backdrop, does the administration still stand by the messaging that you're targeting the worst of the worst, and does this prevailing narrative tell the whole story?
Well, thank you for bringing this up, Caroline. I've seen this CBS report floating around. There's a lot of liberal talking heads and pundits and Democrat elected politicians who think that this single story and these statistics and the way they are painted is somehow a shot at this administration. It is not, and let me correct the record. Number one, the Trump administration has been clear from day one that any illegal alien present in this country is subject to deportation. However, the priority, of course, is going after the convicted criminals, the worst of the worst, the murderers, the pedophiles, the rapists in this country. Interestingly, in the CBS story, what the Democrat talking heads on television are not saying is this line. Nearly 60% of ICE arrestees over the past year had criminal charges or convictions. And among that population, the majority of the criminal charges or convictions are for nonviolent crimes. Oh, well, what are nonviolent crimes, you ask? This has coincided with what DHS has been saying all along, that approximately 70% of illegal aliens arrested under President Trump have pending criminal charges and or prior